Hey people of planet Earth, I am sure you looked at the title of this video and imagined it to be some sort of late April Fool's joke. But no, I actually have some positive things to say about Fallout 4. It's shocking, I know. The discourse around this game has always been very negative, even around the time it came out, but certainly now. So I think it would be nice to be positive for a little while, and point out some of this game's strengths. Don't worry, this video won't be that long. While it is disappointing that nearly all of Fallout 4's locations have no quests associated with them besides Radiant quests, and are basically just shooting galleries, you have to admit, these are some of the best shooting galleries ever made. In previous Bethesda games, every single cave or factory or subway station or alien ruin you stumbled into looked completely identical to the last 10 you came across. Seeing the same room pieces cobbled together in the same configuration over and over again is boring. I gave up playing Oblivion because of it. Fallout 4 solves this problem completely by making level design kits more granular. In earlier games, an entire room or hallway would be a single piece that a level designer plops down. In Fallout 4, the composing parts of these rooms, such as floors, walls, and ceilings, have been separated into their own individual pieces which can be mixed and matched to create way more variety. Something as simple as raising the height of a ceiling was totally impossible in the old system, but in Fallout 4, it's only a few clicks worth of effort. There's a GDC talk given by two of Fallout 4's level designers from 2016 that explains the benefits of this approach in more detail. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Unfortunately, this ultra-modular method of asset creation has downsides. Lackadaisical placement of pieces has led to all sorts of clipping and Z-fighting issues throughout Fallout 4's Commonwealth. In fact, I think I've seen more Z-fighting in Fallout 4 than in every other game I've played combined. Moreover, using so many tiny modular pieces almost certainly contributed to this game's performance woes. This led Bethesda to devise the ill-conceived pre-combine and pre-visibine systems that blunted the modding community's enthusiasm for making new content. Shit, this was supposed to be a more positive video. Oh well. I'll round off this section by praising the newfound verticality in level design. In previous Bethesda games, the Z-axis was almost never a factor in combat or exploration. In Fallout 4, it's relevant more often than not. Whether you're exploring a multi-story mall or each floor of a sprawling apartment complex, there are usually enemies shooting at you from above and below, and hidden loot to be found in every nook and cranny. You often have to plan your descents to avoid taking fall damage. That is, unless you're wearing... In series lore, power armor is supposed to turn a regular soldier into a nearly bulletproof walking tank, and enhance their combat abilities greatly. Fallout 4 is the first Fallout game that accurately represents that lore. Power armor completely changes the feel of the game. It makes you stronger, taller, bulkier. It changes your animations. You make a lot more noise now, especially when jumping. Low damage attacks bounce off your armor harmlessly, and radiation is no longer much of a problem. The user interface is changed into a diegetic visor overlay built into the power armor helmet. You have a headlamp instead of the Pip-Boy light. When it rains, droplets slide down the visor. Enemies audibly react in fear when they see you in power armor. There are even perks like Pain Train for those who want to specialize in using power armor. This is all a huge improvement over both Fallout 3 and New Vegas. In those games, power armor is simply an endgame armor set. The only difference between leather armor and a set of T-51B is appearance and statistics. You can't deny that what Fallout 4 brings to the table is much better than that. The biggest criticism people seem to have with power armor in Fallout 4 is that you're handed a set for free, literally right out of the starting gate. And that's way too early, apparently. Honestly, I think Fallout 4's opening does more disservice to Deathclaws and miniguns than it does to power armor, but that's off topic. The critics who complain about power armor being given away too early don't seem to understand power armor's new role in Fallout 4. If it was simply the best armor set in the game, it would indeed be very stupid to make it available right from the beginning. That's why in both Fallout 3 and New Vegas you need training to use power armor. Otherwise it would be trivial to loot a set off of a dead Brotherhood soldier within the first hour of playtime, and never have to upgrade your armor again. Fallout 4's power armor is very different. It's meant to be a vehicle that you use sparingly to take on tougher challenges, upgrading and swapping out pieces over the course of the game. So receiving a set of weak, easily broken power armor with no fusion cores to continue using it at the beginning of the game makes perfect sense. It imparts the lesson that you can't use power armor all the time. It's best saved for when you truly need it. People also argue that power armor requiring fusion cores breaks pre-established lore, but I don't think it's any more of a problem than, for example, all the pistols in Halo 2 magically losing their zoom functionality from the first game. Changes like this have to be made for the sake of game balance. Without fusion cores to limit its use, there would be no reason to ever leave your power armor. Maybe there was a better way to balance it, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. To conclude, I think Bethesda did about as good a job as they possibly could have implementing power armor. Let's move on to another topic. The Far Harbor DLC is definitely a highlight of the Fallout 4 experience. In areas where the base game stumbles, Far Harbor succeeds to the greatest extent possible within Fallout 4's limitations. Obviously, there's only so much you can build on a rocky foundation. There are still only 4 vague dialogue options, synths still make no sense, generic raiders have been renamed trappers and given different armor, but they're still generic raiders, and the Children of Adam are completely insane, supporting them isn't much of a real choice. In spite of these problems, there are so many things to love about Far Harbor. It has a compelling story with multiple factions to support in the end. It's entirely possible to bring peace to all 3 factions or destroy all 3 if you know what you're doing. I like how Dima's story is deeply intertwined with Nick Valentine's, but you can still do the DLC even without bringing him along. It would have been easy for Bethesda to force you to take along Nick, or block other base game companions from journeying to Far Harbor with you, but they didn't do that. I applaud them for putting in the extra effort to let players make their own decision on choice of companions. I like how completing or ignoring side quests for Far Harbor or the Children of Adam influences their trust or lack of trust in you in the final stretch of the main quest, which can have serious consequences. I even like the memory log tower defense minigame. The new world space is as fun as the Commonwealth to explore, especially for the first time when you initially encounter Far Harbor's distinct wildlife. These monsters show that Bethesda is totally capable of inventing new creature designs when they want to. I wish they did it more often instead of relying on classic Fallout iconography like super mutants, deathclaws, and rad scorpions all the time. You could spend 20 or 30 hours exploring and still not find everything Far Harbor has to offer. There are some great side quests like Brain Dead or The Great Hunt, and although I wish there were more, Far Harbor definitely has a relatively greater number of quests than the base game does. I wish Fallout 4 had 5 DLCs with the same quality as Far Harbor. It would be a much better game if it did. Sadly, besides Nuka World and Automatron, sort of, Bethesda gave us nothing but workshop add-ons and Creation Club slop, none of which I'm interested in. I absolutely love survival mode. It's pretty much the only way I play Fallout 4 nowadays. Without survival mode, many of the game's mechanics feel pointless. In non-survival mode, I've never felt the need to build up more than one settlement, since I can always fast travel back to safety at a moment's notice. But with fast travel disabled, developing several settlements, at least up to the point where they have food, water, and a bed available, becomes an absolute necessity. That lack of fast travel combined with a reduced carry weight cap makes you carefully consider what gear you want to bring with you and what you'll leave behind. You can't carry 10,000 rounds of ammo and hundreds of stim packs with you anymore. The sleep to save feature is great. No longer can you spam quick save and quick load to get yourself through any combat scenario. Now you have to endure white knuckle situations where a single mistake could cost you half an hour or more of progress. Finding a bed after a desperate search and being able to rest and save your progress is cathartic. It's great that radiation has been made slightly more of a threat in survival mode, but there are still doctors everywhere that can cure all your rads, and the fatiguing and immunosuppressive effect induced by Radaway is only a quick nap away from being removed. Likewise, I think diseases could have been implemented a bit better. It would be nice if diseases took time to cure and you had to sleep them off.
Instant cure antibiotics and doctors are so plentiful in survival mode that diseases very quickly become a non-factor past the very early game. Another problem I have with survival mode is that it's a simple on-off toggle. More customization would have been nice, since some of survival mode's features are honestly a little too hardcore for my tastes. I always use the sleep or save mod to make saving less annoying, a water bottling mod so my purified water bottles don't disappear after drinking from them, and some kind of fast travel alternative to cut down on really long travel times. Damn, this was supposed to be a more positive video. I do like survival mode, it's just too difficult for me in some regards, but too easy in others. Well, to fix it, there's always mods. Speaking of... You might think it's unfair to credit Bethesda for the work of modders, but the fact is, it's Bethesda that allows the modding community to exist in the first place. If they didn't release the creation kit, modding would be significantly more difficult and we would be seeing far less mods overall. If they wanted to, they could go even further and kill modding completely by encrypting the game archives or adding code to prevent the game from being tampered with. I'm sure you can find plenty of game developers that have done exactly that, but BGS has gone in precisely the opposite direction and fostered the growth of the modding community in every way possible. They're the only game developer I know of that has pushed for mods to be available on consoles. Yes, there are heavy limitations on console modding, but some of these limits are out of Bethesda's hands. Sony refuses to allow external assets to be loaded into the game. That's their policy, and Bethesda can't do jack shit about it. Microsoft is much less restrictive, but obviously they're not going to allow us to run custom DLL files or executables that hook into the game. The 2GB size limit is very unfortunate, but it probably stems from a technical decision that was made early on and would be difficult to undo now. In any case, 2GB of mods is a lot better than 0GB, which is what you'll get with every single other console game out there. So be grateful for that at least. And that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you came out of it with a greater appreciation for Fallout 4, a game you pretend to hate, but you've got 500 hours in it anyways. I don't think this video was as positive as it could have been, but whatever. I tried my best. Click that subscribe button, and until next time, toodles!